People often tell me that they have trouble winning consistently in today's poker games, and as a 10+ year professional poker player, I can tell you it's not because they are unlucky, it's because they haven't learned a simple set of strategies that actually work. We're gonna fix that in today's video. You're gonna learn 7 easy poker tips that you can literally take to the tables after you're done watching this video. Let's jump into it. Number 1, make the obvious play every single time. Guys, strong hands want action. This is one of the biggest mistakes that beginners and amateurs make. Let's give you an example. You have the ace king of diamonds on the button and one of these loose players calls. So they're playing all sorts of trashy hands. They're playing a king 5, an 8-3, a 7-6, a queen 7, any 2 remotely playable cards. This is one of these recreational players. They just play the game for fun. They're not watching a video like this. They don't take the game seriously like you do. So let's keep that in mind when we go see the flop of the ace of hearts, 8 of spades, and 3 of clubs. So they check to you. What should you do? Guys, the biggest mistake that people make here is slow playing. They just check behind. This is a massive mistake because a recreational player, if they have hit this board, heck, if they've got anything at all, any kind of long shot draw, they are going to call you. So you want to bet here for value. Guys, bottom line, build the pot when you're ahead. Do not get tricky at the poker tables. When you hit a strong hand like this, top pair, top kicker, just make the obvious play, make a strong bet, and you're going to have a lot more success. Number 2, bluff the smart spots. So guys, we're going to talk about earning pots here because this really is the heart and soul of winning poker, especially against strong poker players as you move up the stakes. Let's give you an example. Once again, you raise it up pre-flop with the ace 10 of clubs, a beautiful hand that I suggest playing in a lot of situations, and a weak player calls you. Now this is critical to this hand. When I say a weak poker player, I'm talking about one of these regular players. They do take the game seriously like you do, but crucially, they don't like to put a lot of their chips in the middle without a really strong hand, and we're going to take advantage of that in this pot. So the flop comes down with the king of diamonds, 7 of spades, and deuce of clubs. You make a c-bet. Now c-bet stands for flop continuation bet. We raise pre-flop, and now we are continuing the aggression here on the flop. They call. So what does this tell us? It tells us that they probably have some sort of piece of the board. However, this is a really dry flop, guys. There's not a whole lot going on here. It is possible that they could have a king, but they also could just be hanging on with a hand like 8-7, for example, or some sort of mid-pocket pair like a pocket 9s. So the turn comes down with the 4 of hearts, and they check again. Guys, they're broadcasting their weakness to you in this situation. You can go ahead and check back, but we're not going to win this pot by checking back in this situation. This is a really good bluff spot here. I will often fire the second barrel in this situation, specifically versus this player type. I want to be crystal clear. This is all about exploiting the number 1 weakness of a lot of regular players in today's games, and specifically the weak player types like this who fold too much to pressure. Guys, bottom line, pick the right boards and opponents carefully to apply pressure, and you're going to have a lot more success. By the way, this is something that I talk about in extensive detail in my brand new Play Fearless Poker training program. There's over 100 elite level bluffing example hands just like this. There's over 35 videos, 12+ hours of advanced poker training. Once again, this is brand new. I have just opened up enrollment. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to get in now. Let's move on to number 3, which is target the fish. Now guys, I've talked about this endlessly on the channel here. If you want to have success in today's games, you need to target the weakest link at the poker table. Don't go pick a fight with the toughest guy at the table. If you want to have success in this game, you need to target the players who are making large fundamental mistakes. Let's talk about that right now. So you're in a $25 online game and one guy is limping into the pot, and that means just calling the blind. We've talked about that one a lot. You never want to be doing that because you are simply entering the hand of poker in a passive manner, which is going to allow somebody like us to take advantage of that. This player is calling every hand. They're never raising. Guys, these are all the classic signs of a recreational player. So you have pocket 8s, 2 red 8s, the 8 of hearts, and the 8 of diamonds. What should you do when they limp into the pot? Well, guys, you already know if you're a fan of the channel here, you want to raise them up big. So they call. Let's go see the flop now of the 6 of clubs, clubs, 4 of hearts, and 3 of diamonds. They check. What should you do? Once again, guys, you just want to bet big here. Often I will just bet the pot in a situation like this when I know that I am up against a recreational player who will call me if they have any pair on this board. If this player has a 6, they're calling, a 4, they're calling, a 3, or if they have a 5, they're also going to be calling me because any 5 on this board has an open-ended straight draw. Guys, bottom line, focus your attention on the weakest players at the poker table, not the strongest players. Don't fight uphill battles in this game, and you're gonna have a lot more success. Number 4, raise or folds. So guys, straight up, I'm going to tell you, stop flat calling with everything. This is a massive mistake that I see my students in particular making all the time. Let's give you an example. Once again, you're on the button with the ace of spades and the jack of hearts, which is a strong hand. However, a tight player, often called a nit or a rock, has already opened the pot, and what I mean by that is they've raised from middle position. So in a situation like this, they are representing a very narrow range of hands, and specifically, they're not playing any worse aces. And this is critical, guys. You need to always be putting players on ranges of hands at the poker table, and you need to understand that this player is not playing ace 10, ace 9, ace 8, so we're not beating anything here. In fact, we are behind the majority of their range. So you don't want to call in a situation like this because we're just going to be fighting the math the entire way. I will tell you that what I normally do in this spot is just fold my hand. I know it might sound crazy to some people, but calling with a hand like ace jack versus an extremely tight player is just not going to be a winning play for us in the long term. However, I will say that sometimes I will 3-bet, which means re-raising. This is another play that you can make in a situation like this, especially when we are on the button. But guys, bottom line, most of the time in a situation like this with one of these sort of mediocre but kind of good hands like ace jack, you don't want to call versus tight players in particular. This is typically a 3-bet or fold situation for me, and most of the time, honestly, just fold. It really depends on my read, but bottom line, guys, always take control of the pot before the flop because that's going to make it so much easier for you to win the hand later on the flop, turn, and river. Number 5, take out the trash. So guys, straight up, you need to stop playing garbage hands. This is the number one thing that helped me when I was first starting out in this game. Long before I became a professional poker player, you're in early position with the 9-6 of diamonds. Just fold it. I don't care if it's your favorite hand. This hand is hot garbage. Get it out of there. You're in the small blind with the queen of hearts and the 3 of spades. I don't care if it's folded to you. I know you've only got one player left to beat. This hand is still junk. Pitch it. Don't play this hand. Guys, stop hoping for miracles at the poker table. Play tight and stay out of trouble. You probably already noticed a pattern throughout this entire video. I'm all about keeping the math, statistics, and odds on your side when you're at the poker table. Don't fight uphill battles. We don't win in poker or anything in life doing that. Do things the smart way and you're going to have a lot more success. And by the way, if you don't know what hands to play, I can solve that for you. I have a free poker cheat sheet. You can simply study the charts yourself. You can learn what hands to play, stop guessing, and start winning. I will put a link to that in the description below. It's totally free. You can download it and study the charts yourself and stop guessing. Number 6, target the limpers. So guys, we already talked about limping before. This is when you just call the blind before the flop. I already discussed why that's not a good idea because you are simply playing your hand passively, and aggressive players just going to take control of the pot and put you in all sorts of difficult spots later on. We already talked about that as well, bluffing players out on the turn, for example. So the bottom line is you want to make them pay to play. Let me give you an example. Once again, you've got the king jack of spades on the button, and one player has already limped in middle position. So what should you do in a situation like this? I'll tell you what you don't want to do. You do not want to just limp behind like a lot of other people do. Jack it up here, guys. Take control of the pot. You want to isolate the weaker players in a situation like this because this is going to give you multiple ways to win this pot. Let's just talk about a few of them. Number 1, we can just make this player fold right now. If we raise right now, we give this player an opportunity to throw away their hand right now before the flop. That's never a bad thing. I like winning pots. You like winning pots too, right? Let's talk about the number 2 way to win this pot now. So let's just say that they do call us before the flop. Well, now we're we're going to go into the flop with number 1 position. We're going to be acting last, so that is a massive advantage in any hand of poker. And also critically, we have the betting lead. So it honestly doesn't even matter what the flop comes down. We already know that 2 out of every 3 times on average in poker, you're going to miss the flop. So when they check it to us 2/3 of the time, we can simply just bet half the pot, and most of the time we're going to take it down. Guys, I hope you can see why this strategy is so powerful. Honestly, this strategy of just raising up the limpers and betting the flop has been an absolute bread and butter strategy that I've used throughout my entire professional career, and it's so simple and so easy. Try this out yourself and you're going to have a lot more success. And number 7, full speed ahead. So guys, do not let them draw for cheap. Let's give you an example. You have 2 black queens. That's the queen of clubs and the queen of spades, and you are in the big blind. A passive player limps. What should you do? Well, you already know. You want to raise it up, of course. They call. Flop comes down with the 8 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, and 4 of hearts. So this is a really draw heavy board. There are flush draws, there are straight draws, but critically we still have 2 black queens. We have far and away the best hand if they only have 1 pair. So they check, you bet, they call. Pretty standard stuff. So the turn comes down with a total brick, the deuce of spades. What should you do? Guys, do not check here. Make another strong bet. You want to always charge all of these draws. Do not allow them to have a free card to hit their flush on the river, to hit their straight on the river, or hit some wacky 2 pair. This is why a lot of people lose at poker. They complain to me about their so-called bad luck, but a lot of times it's because they don't charge these players to hit their ridiculous draws. Guys, if you take nothing else from this video, please, when you have a strong hand like an overpair, pocket queens here, just bet big on the flop, turn, and river. Charge them to chase their draws, and you're gonna win a lot more pots. All right, guys, like and subscribe if you found this one helpful. And once again, if you want to know my entire strategy to absolutely obliterate the small and mid stakes games, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That'll be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. All the best of the poker tables, truly, unless you're on mine.